Thank you for having me. And it was a tremendous work we've seen that Professor Cabanas has put all these analysis and PB projects together around the world. It's a great honor to be here. My name is Alan Wei. I'm a senior policy advisor at the new Taipei City government. And today I would like to share with you some participatory budgeting for energy saving projects that we implemented a couple of years ago in New Taipei. Next page, please. So a little bit of background of our city. So New Taipei city located in the northern part of Taiwan. We have various landscape from urban areas to seashore and mountain. So basically New Taipei is like a miniature of Taiwan. We have a land size approximately 8 times larger than the capital Taipei city. And the decarbonization goal, which we just announced recently, is to reduce 30% of the greenhouse gases in 2030, one of the most ambitious goals in Taiwan. Recently, we might announce a further more ambitious goals for the long-term future. The population in New Taipei is around 4 million people, and we reached over 4 million population in 2019 April. As you can see, there are a couple of pictures down here. We have 29 districts within the city. The Banqiao district is one of the core place. You can see all these buildings. It's very populated here in the center of the city. And we, on the other hand, we have Pingxi district, which is in the mountain. One of the most famous activities in Pingxi was the Lantern Festival. As you can see on the right side, the average temperature was rising for the past decades from an average of 22, now is more than 24 degrees. So the rising temperature would also lead to the change of raining season. Heavy rainfall somehow happens in the summer, and all these scenarios are expected due to climate change. Luckily, we don't have severe flood or wildfire or heat wave in the city. But somehow in such a populated place, we still need to consider the relationship between reducing carbon dioxide, climate change, and our energy transition projects. Next slide, please. So we started the PB projects relates to the climate change, especially in energy saving projects in 2 districts of our city, one in Luzhou and the other one is in Yonghe. So the population in Luzhou was around 200,000 people, and in Yonghe was 220,000 people. Both projects were implemented between 2015 to 2017, but the core concept of our PB projects are like, it's a process of doing policy advocacy, trying to raise the awareness, just like the professor just shared. And the second one is that we want to transform our citizens from policy takers to policy shapers. So it's a very important process for them to participate into designing the policies for themselves. And the third one is that we want to bring in the wisdom from the public, because localized context that local citizens would know better than anybody else. And the fourth is to transform the relationship between the public and policies. So that's the core concept of us doing the PB projects initiative at the beginning. So 2 important ideas was for these PB projects where we see them as a democracy experiment among the grassroots. So it's very different from some of the cases you mentioned, because we just give the rights to the people, to the community, to the small business, and trying to let them to participate in all these processes. And secondly, we see it as a discussion of energy management paradigm. So these projects would actually shift their way of dealing with energy savings. Next page, please. We initiated two projects in the two districts in New Taipei. So in Luzhou, it was the energy saving projects for the households with the participation of the community members. Another one is in Yonghe that we focus on the commercial service industries. For both projects, we used the first year to proceed with advocacy and empowerment to the participants. We provide them training sessions and we have town hall meetings to explain to them what's the concept of BB projects and to empower their basic knowledge of energy savings. And we use the second year to implement these projects selected from their ideas. The holistic concept is once again to transform the participants from policy takers to policy makers. On the left, you can see those are the projects selected from Luzhou. So the community members, after they get trained, they form groups to discuss the ideas they want to implement within their community. And in the end, we select 5 proposals out of 10 after they submit the ideas. And the number upon each project, the amount of money that we invest is not that much compared to some infrastructure projects in other places. $4,000 to $6,000. It's not that much, but many of these projects for people to come up with some ideas, for instance, how they can transform the vendors into a hub to bring awareness to the community. And they created a way to allocate energy saving tips so they can further introduce to the community. On the other hand, for the commercial service sector, we selected 9 groups out of the 21 applicants to kick off the whole process. And as you can see the number, during all these training sessions and discussing sessions, hundreds of participants were get involved. They were like small chain restaurants owners. They were like house salesperson, and they try to all get together and see how their business can create a new way for energy savings. So in terms of climate change, we know that there are 2 major ideas to fight against climate change. One is adaptation, and the other one is decarbonization, to how do you call that? Adaptation and
mitigation.
Mitigation.
Yes. Thank you. So I think these ideas is like basically, especially in the energy saving part, is that we see as a way, the most effective, cost-effective way to reduce, invest in energy saving projects and to mitigate the CO2 emissions. So after all these projects came out, we sort of like selected top of it and we tried to give them money to implement. Next page, please. The key inspirations from other cases, there are 3 categories. One, that we were inspired by the Mets in France. We've seen that they come up with some projects, including footbridge and green urban circulations. I think the scale of the projects is like deepened. So I think that could give us some thoughts to expand the depths from advocacy related projects into systematic change projects, including how we build infrastructures, how we can further to expand our projects. And the second one is from Molina de Segura. We've seen that in each district they have, they form working groups that deal with different aspects of BB. I think that is very important because initially our participants, either they're familiar with their own ideas, but if we want to like make the case deepen and make the scale wider, we need to have certain group of people, they are focusing in each topics. And from Russia as well, we've seen that they have initiative groups as a act agent for them to participate into all these processes. So in the future, we might think of the structural design of how the people work together with the government, whether there should be any other type of like expertise groups forming for us to enhance the efficiency and to add into the professional ideas into these projects. And the third one, I think we're very inspired by Lisbon. Not only they roll out the projects within the schools context to have younger generations involvement, and we've seen that they also turn car parks into open green space. I think that is a context that New Taipei can actually learn from them. Is that we have to like invest more into all these green projects and try to link the resources to mitigation solutions and actions. Although we stopped a couple of projects after 2017 due to our budgeting year period, because we need to submit our budgeting and the budget will be reviewed like within the same year. And for all our projects here, were across the years, it caused a small problem for us. But we're doing other PV projects within other areas, such as labor, participation and education areas. So we will, of course, learning from all these projects around the world and see how we can utilize the idea of BB to help us design better policies in the future. Thank you very much.